Are you ready? Yeah. Cool. Are you ready? Awesome. Yeah. Ouch. Yeah. You did it. Yeah. Cool. Are you ready?
Yeah, that's right. This is a McDonald's game, or at least this is a game that, features McDonald's advertising. And if you notice that, well, the first thing that might have came to your mind is, what kind of a crappy game is this? Well, funny thing is, this isn't the only McDonald's game released at this time. In fact, this isn't even the only McDonald's game released on the Sega Genesis. And you know what? They're both pretty good. This game here was developed by Virgin Games, released in 1992. And there's a few reasons that if you're a Sega fan, you're definitely going to want to check this game out. There's definitely a few reasons I want to show you this game. And the first reason, well, you've already heard. The game has great music, great sound effects, and we'll get into that later. The second reason is it actually looks pretty good and it plays pretty good. Now, this game was programmed by David Perry, and if you're a Sega Genesis fan, you should know David Perry. David Perry at the time worked at Virgin. I think he was like the lead programmer there. And he was a big fan of the Sega Genesis. He loved how the Sega Genesis had a fast CPU in it, and he could do really fast animation. This is the guy that, after doing this game, he went on to do Cool Spot and Disney's Aladdin and Earthworm Jim and Earthworm Jim 2. And those games all have great animation. It's really fast. It's really fluid. The controls are really fast. So the animation, it's not taking away from the controls. The gameplay in all of these games is really fast. All these games use the same engine. And like I said, David Perry not only knew the Sega Genesis really well, but he loved making games for the Sega Genesis. Now, the other thing that all these games have in common is the music. Like I said, I'd get back to the music. And the reason is that these all have music composed by Tommy Tallarico. Now, once again, I'm a big fan of Tommy Tallarico, and I think most Sega fans appreciate Tommy Tallarico because not only did all these games have great graphics, they also had great music. And let's be honest, the Sega Genesis kind of has a bad reputation when it comes to music and sound effects. And any of these games here is a good example of what the system can do. There's a lot of voice samples in this game. And the first thing that really surprised me looking up the information on this game is it's only a 4 megabit cartridge. There's a lot of animation and there's a lot of voice samples and they're really clear. And all that's, stuck into a 4 megabit cartridge. So you're thinking, well, what'd they leave out? Yeah, unfortunately in this game, they did leave some things out and we'll get to that a little bit later. But to sum things up so far, we've got a great looking game. As you can see, lots of animation. Really fast animation. The controls are bang on. I love the way the characters run and they slide around. and the shooting is awesome. You've got, directional shooting. You can shoot as fast as you press the button, and you can aim up and down. But it's also the way that you're shooting slime. And, well, I don't know if it's slime, because I think you're trying to kill slime. I don't know, but it's really gooey, whatever you're shooting. And as you can see, the way they move through the air, they have a really cool trajectory to them. It kind of flips over itself, and, obviously it moves a little slower, but it kind of stretches out. And, as you're shooting and you're changing directions, you can get a lot of trajectories that come off the shooting. So the shooting controls are really good, too. It's actually a great run and gun because, the controls are fast, and you can shoot in all directions. And, first impressions with this game are that it's really fun. It's just a fun, fast, relatively easy run and gun. Unfortunately, the problem with this game is it gets kind of repetitive. There's only 4 worlds in this game. Each world has 3 levels in it. But the 3 levels within one world are so similar that sometimes you'll think you're just playing the same level over again. Obviously, when you change worlds, the backgrounds change. And not only do the backgrounds change, but the enemies all change too. So there is some variety there, but there's only 4 worlds. And you can go through the levels pretty easily, pretty quickly too. You can beat this game pretty quickly. The other problem is there's only 1 weapon in this game. And that's a shame because, like I said, the shooting controls in this game are awesome. Oh man, but once again, the music makes up for it. Oh, the music is so great in this game. There's not a lot of it, and once again, there's only 4 worlds. The music doesn't change per level. You get the same music in like all 3 levels in one world. So the music's only changing when you change the worlds. So once again, there's not a lot of worlds. There's not a lot of music, but the music that is there is so awesome. And that's the thing with this game. It's only a 4 megabit cartridge. When they stuck all this animation and music, good music, and, amazing sounding voice samples, really, considering. They stuck all that into a 4 megabit cartridge, and they didn't leave a lot of room. There's not a lot of variety in the worlds, not as much as you'd like anyways, Only 4 worlds is kind of stingy. Only 1 weapon. And then look at Earthworm Jim. The game is 24 megabits. There's a lot more variety in the levels and stuff in Earthworm Jim, and tons of different weapons you can get. So, like I said, that's the downside of this game. It's a little bit repetitive, but I still think it's worth owning. I still think if you're a Sega fan, if you're a Sega Genesis, Sega Mega Drive fan, I think you want to have all the David Perry games. They're all good. Cool Spot is fun. Aladdin is like a must-have for the Sega Genesis. Earthworm Jim, a lot of people forget that Earthworm Jim started on the Sega Genesis. It was made for the Sega Genesis. It came out on the Sega Genesis first. It was ported to the Super Nintendo. Now, don't get me wrong, the Super Nintendo version is great. But when you consider the Sega Genesis as an older machine, and it's got some color limitations, it's really hard to tell when you're looking at Earthworm Jim. It's one of the best looking games on the Sega Genesis. Once again, you can shoot in all directions, lots of fast animation. They really put a lot into that game, and it's 24 megabits. So with 4 megabits, not really a whole lot of room to cram a lot of different levels and all that extra stuff in there. So this is definitely not one of the must-haves, but I think you can still pick this one up really cheap, and it's worth having if you're a fan of the Sega Genesis And it is a fun game. What's there is fun. The controls are good. You know, you can have fun with it, but you'll get bored of it pretty quickly. And I guess that's it. See you guys later.